Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
What up, everybody? It's ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 227 on the Pantheon Media Network. It is hot as balls. It's summer in New York. We're back after, doing our every other week. Here's the thing, kids. Here's the thing about when you get a job in an office, something I've not had since 2010. And this is my first one, and I don't know if you've ever had to do this, Amy, because I know like a lot of your schools are close to your neighborhood. Having to take a two-fare zone to get to
no.
work.
My MO for a job is either I have to walk there or it's one train.
Let me just tell you something. I love that sparkling water, FYI. That German sparkling water is really good. The mineral water.
I liberated it from the pantry. They
Yeah.
couldn't give it out to the clients because it's glass. I went, I'll take it.
And you were like,
I'll take it.
Excuse my purse as I stack them in. Let me just tell you
I'm
something.
walking.
Mine too. This is the first job I've ever had where I've had to do a train and a bus. And it has come in the mornings now that I take the 8:34 bus, which has not been showing up. So then I'm waiting for the 8:51 that always shows up late. And then now coming home, my bus did not show up. And it adds literally an extra 30 to 30 minutes plus to my trip home. So I literally walk in the door the days we tape, and I don't even I just drop my bag, wash my hands, and turn on the computer. I don't get to eat. I don't get to stop.
We appreciate that you're washing your hands. Thank you.
Well, listen, I'm a girl who likes to wash her hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a wash your hands.
Well, you know what? All of this is gonna be better because we're gonna have a hot new mayor, hopefully. Zoran Mandami won. Well, okay, it's not official yet because it was ranked voting, and what they have to do is now count up all the other votes. Mm-hmm. But it was not expected. It was expected he was going to do well, but it was not expected. They thought it would have to go. Most political pundits thought it would have to go to runoff.
And that's because they're all tacky, and nobody paid attention to the polls ahead of time, which kept having him pull ahead. And,
right.
And do you know what's really interesting about this? And then we can go on to the show. New York politics is like the fucking jungle, right? The racism around the way people are talking about him is really crazy. But even more so, this is why, and I'm a lifelong Democrat. I come from a lifelong Democratic family. But this is why I'm kind of over them. So much other bad shit is happening, and they're silent. But they've been so loud about this dude. I'm like, I'm sorry. Everybody's rights is being taken from them. And where are you guys? But he wins, and you are all just the loudest I've ever heard you be. This is why he's got young people excited. And young people aren't excited about any of you other motherfuckers in the establishment.
No, I think it's going to be. Listen, I put nothing past Eric Adams because he's already pulling. He's pulling the race card.
Oh, he absolutely. I know it's going across the board.
Both ways, he's pulling it in favor of himself and then against him, which is like, wow, okay,
it's like a new low for him. He's just
it's like, wow, okay, Eric. Look, we could have this discussion when, we have a guest today, by the way. I forgot to mention Annie Zaleski, who I'm a big fan of, a great writer, and she's going to be talking about a little underknown, undiscovered ingenue who goes by the name of Cher. We're going to be talking about
Never
Cher.
heard of her. Never heard of her.
I heard the kids like her. But anyway, I'm excited about Mom, we'll go into it a little bit more once it shakes out. But I think I'm also very excited that the political bromance between him and Brad Lander, I think that was genius politicking. That was New York City at its best. If you want to talk about what makes New York City, when it's good, a great city, that's what makes it a great city. And his mother's an amazing filmmaker. We all need to go out and rewatch all of his mother's films because
and I just think that it's weird that they're shaping this whole, and let me not even go down this road.
All right, let's go down this road. We're gonna have many weeks to talk about this.
Let me not go down this road.
Yeah, let's wait till he clinches. All right, this weekend was Glastonbury. I am still trying to find stuff. Lots of people played, and lots. Olivia. Okay, I really like Olivia Rodrigo a lot, but I think I've reached my saturation point of bringing out the old guest star person to sing the song, and then they leave. Because Robert Smith, bless his heart, she brought out Robert Smith, and he looked like my kids made me do this, you know. Though she's great, and it's not taking anything away from her whatsoever. I didn't see the Lorde performance. I heard that's good. Ray was great. Rumor has it she might be the headliner next year.
There's no Glastonbury next year.
Oh, really? How come?
It's their fallow year.
Oh, okay.
You know they take a fallow every 5 years to let the land, because it is actually a working farm that they do
right.
it on.
Okay, so maybe I meant the next Glastonbury then. Charlie XCX, from all accounts, blew everybody off the stage, and then
people are upset. They're trying to come.
Oh, why? Because she does. Oh,
because they're like, you use auto tune. I'm like, have you ever listened to it? I'm like, have you listened to one of her albums?
Well, not only have you listened to one of her albums, but have you been to any show by almost every major singer? They're all using auto-tune. Big surprise. They're all using auto-tune.
Some of the ones you love, who you think are always singing in the mic, have moments where they are not actually singing in that mic. You
know damn well that pretty much every singer, if you hear them go flat, then you know they're not singing in auto-tune. So pretty much, speaking of auto-tune, we're going to segue into Cher. But anyway, so, I mean, the big controversy is that, and you have to, I don't even want to get into the politics of it. I just want to get into what the fuck did you think of it? Kneecap has spent the last 6 months basically saying something and getting punished, saying something and being banned, saying something and getting their visas revoked. And then you book them? What did you think? They were suddenly going to be like angels, and so the BBC decides not to broadcast their thing because they were going to speak about the genocide in Gaza. But then they bring out Bob Dylan, who are actually really good, who is also not like a shrinking violet. And he starts, or it's two guys, but the main guy. And they didn't pull the plug on him. And
yes, but now what's the reaction, right? The Trump administration has yanked their visas so they can't come and perform in the U.S.
That's not surprising, though.
UTA, who represents them, has dropped them.
Okay, I will say this. They called for the death of people. You can say free. They should have just left it at Free Palestine. And just don't.
Okay, true. Except when it is the other side, you can call for the death of people and there's no consequence, right?
I haven't heard of any. What artist has stood on stage and said,
well,
kill
it's not even
all
artists.
the...
It is everybody who's been talking about this conflict, the way they talk about this conflict, and they've been like, they're all terrorists, kill them. So, like, that's a debate I don't even want to get into right now.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying.
I have said to you before, I feel like the way this is, it's really interesting how you could say whatever you want about one side, but it is not fair game on the other. And I don't like that.
Well, because the Christian nationalists need Israel, because otherwise their Lord has no place to go back to. Oh, no. Speaking of lords, all right. Wait. All right.
Hold on. We're going to take
confuses me.
Let's take a commercial break. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And we're back.
Before we get to our lovely guest, Miss Annie Zaleski, just want to, for those of you playing the at-home version of the Puffy trial, it went to the jury today. Are we doing a drinking game on how fast they come back with a verdict?
Yes. And this is what I think. Do you want to know? I have some thoughts.
I've changed my opinion 100%.
I've changed my opinion. I think that they're going to be hung on the RICO.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think they're going to get the RICO. I think they might get 1 or 2 of the other ones.
They'll get the prostitution stuff.
But I like the sex trafficking maybe.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I don't think they're going to get the RICO. It's
going to be hard. I don't think
that's always a hard one to get. And all of the people got on the stand and they said a lot of things, but nobody ever said I thought I was committing a crime. No one.
Right. So I think that, I've sort of lowered my expectations of how much he will be punished. But I do think that we may be able to be done with him career-wise unless he changes his name. Oh, well,
listen. You've admitted, the swingers part, I don't think people care as much about because there are a lot of people who are swingers. But when they talk about, this is domestic violence and he's got a temper, that's the thing that will get him. It will be that. That's the thing that makes him untouchable to any brand. Even if he gets off scot-free with everything. You can't have somebody who's their defense was he might beat up women, but he's not a murderer, rapist.
Yeah, really. He's he only beats the shit out of women and keeps them imprisoned in rooms for hours on end. But other than that, he's a great guy.
And I use baby oil. He had so much. Can you just send me a case of the unopened ones, please? It's gotten so expensive. It's gotten so expensive.
Is it expensive?
Oh my God. It's like everything. It's like $9,000 a bottle.
Is it the tariffs? Is that what another thing? Oh, my eyeballs are so
all right, introduce our guest while I go grab my Cher vinyl that I'm going to make her discuss.
Oh, okay. All right. So, but you have to, ladies and gentlemen, so Annie Zaleski is a writer that I have been reading for quite some time. And the best thing a writer can say about another writer is that they're jealous because their stuff is so good. Annie Zaleski is a contributing writer to Salon Magazine and many, many other outlets. She is an author. I was just saying all this nice shit about you, Annie. Did you hear it?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, good. I would hate to think that I was saying all this nice shit. Anyway, I'm going to do what I do every time we have an author. I'm going to hold up a book, even though it's no visual for this, and I'm going to hold it up. Is it fair to call this a coffee table book if it's a very small coffee table?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay, so this is a coffee table book for a very small coffee table, which what New Yorkers have. We have very small coffee tables.
First of all, you chose the great photo for the cover, and I love that you chose the Cher show Cher.
The Cher. The Cher.
That is all the designer. They did such an amazing job with that. All hail. I wish I had something to do with it rather than
and a forward by our pal Cyndi Lauper, who does no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Does no wrong.
Amen to that.
I'm assuming you voted for Cyndi for Rock and Roll.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the biggest duh.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that in my youth, I was on the nominating committee, and but years later, when Cher's name came up, because she got in the first time she was nominated, and Annie, I know you've experienced this as a woman who dares to think about music, and Courtney, you've experienced this as a woman who dares to think about music.
Thank you so much.
No problem. When the pearl clutchers, the guys who live in their parents' basement and are freaking out about it's not rock, man. When her name came up and she's not rock, man, and like I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She sang on every Phil Spector record known to
First of all, she has rock albums. They didn't all do well, but I love this fucking album, Stars. This is her Jimmy Webb produced album. This was the album when she returned to Warner Brothers. She signed as her solo album. And people forget, Cher had a lot of those rock albums that came out in the 70s that were not hits. She was really trying, and she was trying a lot of different styles. Like Casablanca, the Take Me Home album was her disco moment. But Prisoner, the follow-up, she did not want to do disco music. You know what I mean? Hell on Wheels, which, I absolutely love.
And I should have given you a heads up ahead of time. This is going to be like...
Hell on Wheels is everything. And that's like they use it in Roller Boogie. But that's the only song that sounds like that on this album. This is a rock album. Cher was making rock music. And people didn't take it seriously at that point, and she didn't get to have a lot of hits, and she went back into acting, and that's when she returned again with David Geffen and gave us this, which returned her back to Cher Situation.
Annie, feel free to go out and have a cigarette if you want to.
I wish that people could see me nodding vigorously right now and high-fiving and cheering.
No. He's our secret. This is like Courtney's like secret.
One,
his party trick.
So much.
And you probably have. Do you have all man and all woman?
This one has gypsies, tramps, and thieves on it. You know what I mean?
All right, so it's obvious, as I will tell you, as a little girl, as a little Amy, I'm older than both of you. Growing up, I would watch television, and I'd go, Cher was the only person I saw on TV who looked even remotely like me. And that's why I liked her. There were not a lot of, everybody was blonde and
the dark hair.
She had long dark hair and not a cute little nose. I was like, she looks like me. So what possessed you to write about Cher other than the fact that she's fucking Cher?
That's number one. It was an editor I had worked with, and she emailed me one day and she's like, "Are you a Cher fan?" And I was like, hello? Because she was like, I'm thinking about pitching a book. And I was like, oh my God, what do you need? What do I need to do? Like, how do I, because I think this was actually before Cher had been nominated to the Rock Hall. And for years, I was like, why doesn't Cher get more respect? Why isn't Cher in the Rock Hall? Like XYZ, I've written pieces about this because it was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is absolutely, it was befuddling to me why she didn't get more respect. And so, we worked together to kind of put together the book that's like basically celebrating all aspects of her, which is a very difficult thing to do with how incredible her career is.
And plus also, I think that like many women, she gets reduced to the sum of her parts, literally physicality and stuff like that. But I think that the scandals, and they weren't even scandals. She dated stupid guys.
I don't even think it was about the scandals. If I could be honest with you, I'll tell you what I believe it was. I think that people just never took her seriously, right? When it was Sonny and Cher, especially in the US, if you think about it, I Got You Babe was a hit, but their hits really were in the UK because they were weird to people here. And then she had this act on television with her husband, which people liked, and it was glamorous, but they didn't take it seriously, right? So you see her and you got these serious music people and they're just like, Cher, no. Like even when she transitioned to being an actor, she famously tells the story of going to see the trailer because Mike Nichols tells her they're showing the trailer to Five and Dime Jimmy Dean. She goes to the movie with her girlfriends to see it. And when they say, and Cher, and people are laughing because they say her name, but then she ends up getting nominated for an Oscar for that role, right? I think that the campiness
was it a Tony for that one? Or
she was Five and Dime was on Broadway, but you remember the movie was her first film. Right. Mike Nichols directed that, and he put her in it. And when she went to see the trailer in Westwood,
I know the story.
People were laughing. Yeah. They were laughing when her name came up. But the truth is, I think it's because when people think of Cher, they thought the Bob Mackie gowns, the long hair, the quips at Sonny. It was almost like what are you doing without him? Like, this is some TV act. But I know as a little gay kid, I always saw deeper into Cher. Cher was like a freedom to me when I watched her because she didn't seem like everybody else. She seemed like a woman who was like, this is how I am. This is what I'm presenting. It's going to be glamorous. It's sexy. And I'm going to own it. And I was fascinated by that because everybody else seemed buttoned up and safe, right? But Cher to me was along that line of, if you're a certain age, and I'll be 58 next month, it's like Lola Falana, Cher, these women that felt powerful and strong and like these magnificent creatures. And she was always, like you said, no one else looked like that. No one. No one.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to me. And then Cher to me is like a gay man with that wit. She was quick and it was fierce. And I just loved every minute of it. I love when she told the Oscars, fuck you. And she wears the outfit with the big headdress. And it's like,
the greatest.
Come on. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that's what drew her to you. I mean, she is like the epitome of everything that's great about women in music to me.
And I mean, kind of like what you said, she was so bold and so unapologetic about it. She wasn't, apologizing for how blunt she was. She wasn't apologizing for wearing this outrageous outfit. She wasn't apologizing for saying, I'm going to go into acting and not do music. She wasn't apologizing for, I'm going to do all these different music genres. She was so bold and never backed down from it. And even when, obviously she had terrible career problems when she had to extricate herself when she got divorced from Sonny. Just these terrible, terrible business dealings. She picked herself up, said, all right, I'm going to figure out and I'm going to do it.
I think there's a real reason that, I mean, obviously what Ike Turner did to Tina Turner is, Sonny may have been many things. I mean, I read the memoir, the part one of the memoir. He was a bastard for sure, and screwed her over financially. But there's never any accusation of abuse. But you can definitely see a kindred spirit in the terms that these are women who were considered to be the creation of the man behind them.
And she had no idea that she was so in servitude to him, that he had basically stolen all the money. And she had no idea that all of that work, and she had no money.
And also, in looking through it through the lens of the Me Too and era, I mean, she was a teenager when he was with her.
Very, very young, with a very tumultuous upbringing. Her dad wasn't in her life. And, she was sort of finding her way. It was, California in the 60s. She was a free spirit.
Or the 50s. It's so funny. When I read the memoir, somebody asked me, how is it? I go, I'm on the 3rd chapter. She's already got 6 fathers. It's incredible. 3 chapters in, she's got 6 fathers. I can't even keep up. I have a scorecard of
exactly.
When is the first time that you heard her? Do you remember that?
I am a little bit younger, and so I definitely came in the 80s, and so it was very.
I was going to say, please don't say "believe." It's the first time.
No. It was definitely the late 80s when she was basically larger than life rock star. From her hair to her outfits.
Right.
You just could not escape that stuff, and so that was just I was all in, I think, like from that moment, basically, Believe, absolutely. I was starting to become a music critic then, and really, I've always loved pop music. So of course, Believe and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, from God, so that's probably going on 40 years now. I guess I'll be a fan of hers, which is,
what's so funny is that when I'm older than all of y'all put together, but, when Turn Back Time came out, it was one of those like, oh my God, it was great. It was shared with. That is such a great song.
It is.
And you just listen to it because, and the way I realized what a great song it was, not to take away from Cher, was when Cyndi Lauper sang it at the Kennedy Center Honors.
Yes.
And you're like, whoa. I mean, it's like, whoa, this is a great song, And she's just a fascinating creature to me, Cher. And I think that she's one of these people that she's at the point of her life, and she doesn't give a damn, and she never has given a damn, but that she really can. I think men are afraid of her in the industry. I think
absolutely, which is amazing, which is what's so great to watch her operate, because yes, absolutely everyone is afraid of her because she is just unapologetic, because they don't know what to do with her, because she's basically this, larger than life personality who she knows she's going to get her way, and her way is right and her vision is correct. And people get very intimidated by that. Very, very intimidated.
Has she ever written a material, or has she always worked with, she's always been...
No, she has written songs. I think and I don't know if you have this, Courtney, but one of the things I discovered, she wrote an album that was basically of singer-songwriter songs she put out only on her website around 2000.
No.
So this was wild to me. And because I'm I know Cher's, discography, haha. And I'm looking at this and I was like, I
don't know this one.
It was called Not Commercial. And it was released exclusively through her website in 2000. And so apparently she went to a songwriting workshop with Miles Copeland.
Wow. With Miles Copeland?
In the 90s, and she basically recorded this record, and it is very hard to find. It is very obscure. So she, she's dabbled in some of this stuff, and she's definitely, which I think also people forget, because of course, as we all know, you can only be an authentic artist if you write your own songs.
And hold a guitar. No, you have to stand in front of a band and be holding something in your hand when you're singing. Yeah, it doesn't count. It's not real music unless you're holding something in your hand or you wrote your own songs, because the Supremes, that was bullshit. All that.
Exactly.
Obviously.
I'm also going to give my friend Jonna Pierre-Antoine a lot of credit for helping to break Believe in the U.S. Because when Believe, first, people forget, Believe came out in Europe first. She was signed to Warner UK, and it became a smash all over the world. But she did not have a U.S. deal again. There was nobody was trying to play it here. And there was a video channel based out of Miami called The Box. And The Box used to call and request videos. And they were submitting it to The Box, and they weren't going to take it. And my friend Jonna, who was one of the music directors program, when Warner Brothers was her client, they submitted the video to her, and she fought for that video. She fought for it. She was like, "It's Cher," and they were like, "No, we don't know. She's old." Da 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 da. She's like, "It's Cher." She wins the fight, and it breaks out on The Box, and that is where it started in the U.S. It was a huge hit on The Box, and it grew out from there to everywhere else.
And it's so funny because I always associate The Box with urban music too.
No, it was everything. The Box was the one place when MTV said we won't play Justify My Love. The Box took it, and it became a big video there.
Right.
And it was very consumer driven. Like I think it was 99 cents or what. I can't remember what it was. You call in and I remember
jacking the box, right?
Yeah,
you know when you would have when a song would be number one for 9 weeks, you'd got their jack. And record companies are calling anyway. We're going. I read the book, so I know that you didn't unfortunately get a chance. Oh my God, I just opened it up to the picture of Cher with the Chippendale guys. I wasn't meaning to do that.
Is she aware of the book?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question. When I mean, obviously Cindy did the foreword, so Cindy's aware of it. So
Which means Cher's aware of it because they're like, that's Judy's.
I'm guessing that Cindy texted Cher, was like, oh yeah, by the way, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote Cher's essay for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame book last year. So I'm like, well, I don't know. It's a very weird thing. It was funny because this book was in the works before we knew her memoirs were coming out.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay. Not that my book at all would have hurt her memoir, which was a massive gazillion seller. But it's interesting when things like that come out because I think artists definitely, aren't going to promote anything that's going to take away. And I mean, she's not as active on social media anyway. She has her own stuff going on. She's not regularly promoting stuff. But I don't know. And I mean, I hope I hope she would appreciate it because it's definitely celebratory.
Well, there's nothing. This is not a dish book. This is a why you're great. Here's why she's great, and why what at the University of Texas series, right? Why Cher matters,
right?
This is why Cher matters with way better pictures.
But it's true, like kind of what we were talking about at the start of this was it frustrates me to no end how much, criticism she still gets and how much people dismiss her. And it infuriates me because, so that was part of the reason why I wanted to write this book is kind of refute all that stuff. To be like, oh, do you think this? Well, here's why. Here's what she's actually been doing. Here's why she's a trailblazer, XYZ. Because, people like, you talk about her discography. She did records with like the Muscle Shoals, down with the musicians. She was doing such interesting stuff and trying to break out. And she was so...
And she's a philanthropist. People don't realize how much of a philanthropist Cher has been and
absolutely.
Well, I think she's one of those women in a lot of... I'm not comparing Cher to Joni Mitchell, but if Cher had sit on a stool and looked ethereal, it would have been very different. There is a way that men want women to look in music. They have to be overtly sexy, or they have to be sort of like complacent. I'm not saying Joni Mitchell is complacent, but you know what I mean? That kind of like earth angel kind of thing. And during that whole era, the 60s, the hippies, she was just like, so I don't give a damn and so performative. And so like, you got the feeling that she actually really wore those clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Like that she is walking down the street in chrome hearts, like head to toe chrome hearts, because that she's just, there has really the only other person I can think of that you hear the voice and you instantly know it's her, but she's not as nice a person, is Chrissie Hynde.
Yeah, they're very similar. That is very true.
Except that Chrissie Hynde, from what I've read, is not a nice person, and Cher is. I've
met Cher a few times. She's great.
She seems like tall or short.
She's not short. She's not tiny.
She like 5'8" or something like that?
Yeah, she's not a type. The first time I met Cher was when I was a wee younger child. And I used to work at Tower Video on Lafayette and East 4th. And she lived above Tower Records.
Oh, where Russell and all in
his apartment. Like I want to say,
apartment?
Either she bought it from him, or no, she sold it to him. She lived there first, and then I think he moved into that apartment. Right. And she came in the tower one day, and I was like, "Oh my fucking, that's motherfucking Cher!" And we were all just like, it was like seeing a unicorn on the street. It's like, it's Cher.
Now, was she shared out, or was she just Cher?
She looked like herself.
Okay.
But when you see Cher, like, and it wasn't like, oh, face. She looked like herself. She's one of those women that when you see her in person,
yeah,
especially back then, she looked like herself.
Right. It's so funny that, we're going so off, Annie, but it's so funny. So many of the things that she was demonized for in the tabloids are now just accepted. Dating a younger guy. Okay, whatever, having work done. Whatever. Now we know that every single woman and pretty much all the men we look at do not look like that, in real life. It seems like everything that she was kind of taking the task,
well, because she was a woman, right? Being a man, dating an older woman, nobody gave a shit. She had the nerve to be like, I like a young, hot guy. And they were like, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah.
Well, because it's true. Because like one of the things, I made the argument in the book was like, she got so criticized for doing the infomercials, the exercise ones, in her catalog in the 90s. And now not only those catalogs like a massive cult following, they have a huge cult following, but she was the influencer. Like you look at now, what do celebrities do? They have their side hustles. They do their things. No one bats an eye if you go on someone's social media and see anything promotional. And she was so criticized. Those really mean, like the SNL sketch I think of, and you read those, you look those. Oh, well,
it was really the Lori Davis one that really that was the one, because that was the beginning of the infomercial. So remember, so she was like, I did this for a friend. Lori was a friend. I had no idea I'd be on TV all night, every night on all of these channels, and it made me uncool.
Yeah. But it's also, I think, and again, and we're all in agreement and repeating something that we've all heard, especially as women. She didn't play nice. You know,
Nope.
She wasn't mean. She wasn't mean. When you read the memoir and when you read your book, she's loyal if you're loyal to her. She has always been loyal to David Geffen. She was loyal to, Greg Allman, even though he was clearly not husband of the year. She's loyal to this knucklehead she's with now. She's loyal to her friends. She's loyal. She's always been a girl's girl, but I think that she made it very clear that I will do this with or without you. And I think that's very intimidating, especially to men in the industry.
She's not deferential. She's not kowtowing to them if there's something, you mentioned Believe, and it was very similar when she was, she came across this whole, the vocal manipulation, and she was like, I love this. Don't touch this. I have to go do a movie. She was basically like, I will kill you. Like, that was like her exact quote, like, I will kill you if you touch this, because she's like, this is my vision. And that's strong stuff. And people don't like to hear that. She didn't like the compromise. And people don't like that when people don't want to, compromise on different things and say my way or the highway, especially if you're a woman.
I think that is actually, because of her connection to Cindy, I think that's a lot of what kept Cindy for years from getting into more recognized. Because I think Cindy's another one who does not get, Cindy's New York, man. She don't give a blank.
Exactly.
We've all dealt with that. Cindy is a lovely woman, but she don't give up. You know? And men don't like that. Men want you to give a fuck. They really do. I love her. Can you talk about some of your, you've written so many books, Annie. I'm very jealous of you that you have a work ethic. All right. So what else? I'm reading, you wrote, I love this. Wait a minute. The salon piece was great. Didn't you also write a Taylor Swift book too?
I did. I wrote a book. It came out last year, basically looking at all of her songs, the story. I mean, it's called The Stories Behind the Songs. So it's basically looking at, this is how she wrote everything, pretty much.
Wow.
Like in her entire catalog from, everything that was officially released. I didn't totally dive into all of the unreleased lore and like early songs and things like that. But yeah, up through the Tortured Poets department.
So you only focus on underground artists then?
Yeah, just underground. Like 90s small. You've never really heard of them.
Yeah, little girls sitting in Bushwick strumming a guitar.
Yes.
How did you get your start becoming a critic of music? Excuse me, I don't know, where are you in Cleveland, right?
It has been so hot here for like weeks on end.
It was, and for 3 days, it was beautiful. It was crisp fall air. And then I'm like, and now we're back to my eyeballs melting. How did you decide to enter the fun world of high-priced music journalism?
So when I was in high school, I started reading like music magazines, I think, which is not necessarily a very similar path. And then I happened to grow up in Cleveland. And at the time, Alternative Press magazine was based there. I don't know how many. Do you all know Alternative Press?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
No, they were literally like 15 minutes from my parents' house, and I grew up in Cleveland. I did not have like New York connections, and so when I was looking at like internships and stuff in college, I applied there because like I could live at home and with my parents, and then just drive to my internship, and I got it there. And so like that's how I got my start. Is I started doing like editorial assistant stuff and writing and interviewing, and this was like late 90s, early 2000s. So the web was sort of coming into its own, but it was still fairly print heavy. And so I really cut my teeth working at the magazine. And then from there, I started freelancing for a bunch of different places. I lived in Boston, and so I did some stuff for the Boston Phoenix and the Boston Herald. I ended up working at an alt weekly in St. Louis for like 6 years. So I kind of ended up starting in like the, little bit of, and I did reviews for Amazon. That was kind of my weirdest early freelance.
I did stuff for them too.
Yeah. So I did
and MS, did you do stuff for Microsoft too when they had their,
No, I would have loved to do that though. Yeah, but because that's when they were throwing money. It was like, hey, we're going to
throwing money. They had a class action suit that I even really had nothing to do with. And the joke was like a check showed up and I was like, I'm a 9,000-aire, Yeah, remember the days? Oh, man. Anyway. Courtney just fell off his chair. No. And you write for Salon too, right?
Yes. So I've done that for a while. And then, I do all sorts, like I write for The Guardian. I do some stuff for NPR Music.
Oh, wow. I miss doing it. I just got burnt out. I got really, really burnt out. And I also, I always tell people it's not the main reason, but when the mechanism of how the music was released almost became more important than the music itself. Like, all right, the Beyonce record's dropping at 2:00. You have to stay up. And I'm like, dude, I'm 50 and I like a kid. I'm trying to get out the door to go to school and I'm back in, I was like, I can't deal with it. And also not you, obviously, but I just got tired of taking marching orders from 20-year-olds. Editorial,
the speed is really difficult. And it's funny for people who don't work in journalism, it's hard to kind of frame like, no, you don't understand because of the web now, you have to have an opinion immediately. You have to turn something around immediately. If someone dies, you have to drop everything. Like it's exhausting and it's exhausting.
Especially I've noticed a lot with music journalism, how quickly they want an album review, right? It's like, I remember working in the music industry, sending out the advanced CD so people had a chance to live with it so that they could really write a thorough review versus hearing it once and needing that shit on the website immediately.
No, they want, we live in a nation of hot takes. They want hot takes for everything. And you cannot hot take a piece of music. You have to live with it. I mean, luckily you had a chance. You have to listen to it. You have to listen to it. Even if you had to go up to the label and like listen to them, you have to be with it for a second because one of my cringe, sometimes I'll go back and look at stuff I wrote and I went, oh my God, why did you trash that record? And I realized because I had to get something out immediately. And somebody was like, I used to feel bad for the artist. If I was PMSing, fuck them. They were going to get the worst review. They really were.
You don't know how many times you're quoted on Wikipedia. I'll be on one of my random nights, you and Bill Coleman, like looking for playing a record. Then let me look up something. Then I go to Wikipedia, and in the section it'd be like Amy Linden of da 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 said, Bill Coleman of Billboard said da 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 da.
I have to tell you something so funny, Annie. I mean, you'll appreciate this, Courtney. You'll appreciate it too. So I used to review, stuff, obviously CDs, but tapes too. And I had this like little Sony boom box. It was a pretty good one, when you got Sony discounts back in the day when you had friends who worked at the Sony store, man, that 40% discount. I had to listen to the music and I was doing a lot of reviews for People Magazine and Entertainment Weekly. So that was a fairly quick turnaround, but they were short. I didn't realize that one of the speakers was blown out. Because I went up to the label to listen to a record. I'm like, wait a minute, there's backing vocals on this?
You're like, this sounds really different.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I don't understand. Why are you making us listen to this music in your room with a $5 million stereo system? Of course it's going to sound good. Who are you listening to these days? Who are you listening to?
That's a good question. Oh my God, this is like when people ask me, like, what are you reading? Everything flies out of my head. Let me take a look. I'm doing a lot of I'm finishing up a book on Stevie Nicks. And so I'm very much in Stevie Nicks mode. So I've been listening to a lot of Stevie recently. But a lot of the pop girlies, I like Chappell Roan a lot. Yeah. Any of it kind of like in her vein. I love her. Turnstile. I love the new Turnstile record.
By all accounts, I need to listen to them because I was a little hardcore punk chick, in the early 80s. I was in the mosh pit getting my ass kicked. And I know I would like these guys, so I need to listen to them. I know
what I like about it, because like I am too. Like I cut my teeth in the 2000s listening to pretty much every Warped Tour band. I probably interviewed everybody because like I had a lot of editors be like, I don't know who they are. You talk to them. So I interviewed like every pop punk band and like in hardcore. I was like, okay, this is good. And what I like about it is that it's kind of taking what that sort of the genre and adding stuff to it, so it's not sort of like the same thing over and over again. Like the big song on it, like the groove is very similar, weirdly, to No Doubt's "Hella Good," and it's not an electronic song, but like there's just something about it, and just the energy. Like I love the fandoms they have, so that's
this is the record. I mean, the first genre, I mean, I grew up listening to everything, but the first genre that I came to on my own and became part of a scene was the punk scene. I mean, like in 78, 79.
Awesome.
And all that kind of stuff. So it was like the first thing. And I had, because I keep reading about them and reading about Ben Merlis is always like trying to convince me to listen to them.
They're so good.
Yeah, no, I have to really give him. Have you heard the Little Sims record? We're in love with Little Sims.
No, I need to listen to that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
It's really, and she's finally going to tour, Courtney.
Oh, is she?
She's coming to the Paramount. She's coming to Brooklyn Paramount.
Oh, I want to go see that. When is that?
Yeah.
Is it summer or is it in the fall?
No, it's in the fall.
Okay.
I work at LIU. And at the at the Rock Nation thing, it's like their music program, and
cool.
They're nice. They're nice kids, and a lot of them intern at the Brooklyn Paramount, which is actually it's a big new theater there. But I had one student, and he's always like, "Oh, Professor Linden, anytime you want to go to a show," and I'm like, "Yeah, wait till you graduate, okay?" Because I don't want to be asking favors. And now I realize he's graduated, but I'm like, damn, I don't have his email address anymore because he graduated.
It's not the same email address?
No, he's not at the school. He's not at the school. He had a school email. I need to find him. I'm going up to the school tomorrow, and I'm like, has anyone seen Kaimani?
Speaking of Stevie, I just found a Stevie album on vinyl that I just bought a couple of weeks ago. I found her Rock a Little album on vinyl, and I bought it. I was like, well, I can't leave this here.
No. I went to Japan a few years ago, and I found a vintage Rock a Little t-shirt. And I cannot stay in Japan. This needs to come home with me. And it's classic. I don't even know what she's doing on the cover, like posing.
Yeah, I know. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. Whatever she's doing. But I was like, that's okay. It's vintage.
And Talk to Me is my song. I love you gonna talk to me. That's such a good
I have
song.
A very love-hate thing with Stevie Nicks.
Whenever we talk about her, you're kind of like, you're on the line with Stevie.
Because the Rumors record and Hotel California were the fuel that drove punk rock. You know what I mean? It was corporate rock. We hated corporate rock.
Okay, gotcha.
And the Rumors record, even though I grew up listening to folk and James Taylor and everything, that was the epitome of coked out corporate rock.
Right.
So the Eagles especially. Mm-hmm. But and it was just I can't take these people anymore. And it took me years, and I still am not a big fan of the twirling and all that stuff. But when I saw her at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I went, holy crap. Okay, now I get it. And she's also a girl's girl too, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has mentored and advocated for I keep finding artists where she's like, oh, she's done this and done that. And she's specifically even said, I want to make sure to, pave the way for people, people have said she's not competitive, that she's not like, that she's like, there's enough room for everybody. I'm going to encourage people. And I love that because that's
because she lived with a megalomaniac. So there wouldn't be enough room for
I'm a fan of anyone who survived some shit and come out the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you have survived some shit, especially as a woman, because I worked in this industry, I've seen what they try to do to women. I've seen how they've tried to pit women against each other. I see what they make women feel like you have to do to be successful. So when I see a woman, especially one who's gone through decades and they're still standing, she just announced more tour dates,
I know,
still doing that thing, I'm like, you have my respect because you have survived some shit. And the industry is crazy now, but you survived it when it was really fucking crazy to be a woman as a solo artist in rock, which was very white, male dominated. And you were out there like twirling with your skirt and being, you know what I mean? Being belladonna. And I'm here for that because you did not compromise that shit. You know what I mean? You didn't. So, and I love that you're still out there twirling and being Stevie, and that's what people love about it.
Yeah, the twirling gets on my nerves.
Oh, I love that shit. I love it. I fucking love the twirling. I love it.
Twirling. I'm sorry. I don't do the twirling.
I love it.
I just love that she's headlining football stadiums because it's basically her and Taylor and Pink and Beyonce. It's like, these are the women are headlining football stadiums.
Do a Pink, please do a Pink book. Please do a Pink book.
I did do one.
Oh!
Yeah. I did.
Like,
I did a bio a few years ago.
Courtney and I are so old. We remember when Pink was black. Remember that, Courtney?
That's the only black Pink I know. I don't notice that. That's the only black Pink I know, sweetie. I don't know
black Pink. We're like Black Pink. You mean Pink?
I'm like Pink. I'm like, there you go, Pink. Most girls Pink. They're like, no, the group. I'm like, no, sweetie. Most girls, and there you go.
You know,
and you make me sick. That Pink,
right. Yeah. When she was black, I loved when Pink was black. L.A. Reid, you can't do this kind of music. Okay.
So here's the question: when you did the Taylor book, does she know about it?
So I don't know, but
I love that you don't know. That you're just I have no idea.
Women,
I still heard from her.
She still walks the earth, and her car hasn't blown up.
Exactly. I just assume that when you're someone like Taylor, you've heard of the book. I mean, her team is on it. Yeah. It's funny because I didn't know she was putting out her own book at Target. Like none of us, and so it was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like they put, unofficial, unauthorized on the covers of all that, you see that on the books. So I'm assuming her team knows about it. I'm assuming the fact I haven't heard from them. But, I haven't reviewed a Taylor show in about a decade. And so I don't regularly, talk to her PR anyway. Like I haven't, in terms of stuff like that. So
I've never been to a Taylor concert. I almost went to the 1984 concert when I was in Baton Rouge.
1984. Oh, wait a minute. 1989.
Same thing. It's like
she's the exact same age as Lucian. She wasn't born in 1984.
Same thing. But I've seen her perform live once because I was at the MTV Awards the year that Kanye came on stage and did that whole thing. I literally was right there. So I saw that performance when he did it was like outside and partially inside. Then I saw her backstage after the incident happened, and it was wow. Everyone was crying. It was crazy.
Is there a wish list of somebody you'd like to write about?
Oh my God.
Madonna.
Me this. I would love to do Madonna. I love Madonna. And Madonna is I'm a big fan.
Me too. Yeah. She's my number one girl. She's my number one girl.
And I think I've done different podcasts and writing about it. I think her music career is fascinating. And it gets some attention, but now I think people forget, and this has come up, I think in recent times, people are like, you don't realize what a trailblazer she was. Everyone takes it for granted now. In the 80s, she was speaking up about AIDS when no one else was. She was risking her career at that point. People don't realize that.
She took us gay kids and put us front and center and said, there's nothing wrong with this. This is amazing. Here they are. She took people from the clubs. I don't think people talk enough about Madonna as a songwriter. I think they always want to say, oh, she used shock and awe to get people. I'm like, actually, that only lasts for so long. The songs were good.
Exactly.
The songwriting was good. The melodies were good, which is why you put a lot of those songs on today and people still dance and sing and have a full moment. And what I'm loving on TikTok is all of these young kids who just know Madonna is this lady now are starting to discover Madonna and go back in and listen to the albums and be like, oh my God, wait, Madonna. I was like, yeah, Madonna is the shit, guys. Like, you don't look at it now and try to be like, oh, this lady. I'm like, Madonna, listen, everybody who knows me knows, don't fucking talk about Madonna. That's my girl. Yes, she's done shit that makes me absolutely mad. Yes, Amy put a fatwa on me talking about Madonna on this show. And the only reason why she's being nice about it, Annie, is because she likes you and you are here. She would have shut me down as soon as I said Madonna. She would have been like, sweetie, this conversation is over.
No. It's like talking about the old boyfriend. It's like, enough. I've heard it. I'm not saying I don't like the woman, but it's enough. No, Courtney's on a fatwa. You're not. This is not going to go on your permanent record because it was not your fault. I asked the question. I introduced the energy, but you're on a 2-week timeout. Get over it, okay? Okay. Annie, first off, it's really nice to meet you because I am really a fan of your writing. I mean, meet you, Cyber. We don't get to meet. We live in different cities, and I'm in retirement. In my little home.
She says that, but when somebody calls and they ask her to pick up that pen, the itch comes back, and she's like, all right, she's not out there pitching herself, but when those calls come to pick up that pen, it's the thing that's in her. Like, she tries to act like she doesn't love to be a writer. And I know it became hard to make money writing.
I don't love being a writer. It's hard writing. Writing is very hard, but I love expressing
my opinion. But you do it well. Well, thank you. That's the thing. You do it well.
Yay, save this all for my funeral. But anyway, it was lovely to meet you, Cyberly. I'm going to hold up the book again. And please, Annie, do us a favor. Send me a list of some of your fave Cher songs.
Oh,
and then, of course,
send us a Cher playlist.
Send us a Cher
and here's
playlist.
the thing. We like the deep cuts and all of that shit. So don't think we're not one of the, we don't need the songs that
Gypsy's Trip. We don't need Gypsy's Trip.
Send us a real Cher playlist. Our listeners are educated music people. Yeah. They will love to hear some shit that they're like, oh my God, I don't know this song. Oh my God, I didn't know she sang a version
Email
of
me
this
the titles. Email me the titles, and I'll just go on ye old evil Spotify. Well, anyway, I got you, babe. A celebration of Cher by Miss Annie Zaleski. Annie, wonderful. Thank you. Tell a friend. Thank you for doing this on such short notice.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anytime. Next book, when you do the Stevie book, come on down. We'd love to talk to you again.
Fortune Queen from New Orleans is rubbing her bat in a black Now, you know what's going to happen, right? See, this is a problem because we're going to get off this. And I'm going to go into my Cher digital catalog where I have way more and have a full night up here being a full queen. It is the last day of Pride and just twirl the fucking Cher all night long.
I think you can twirl the Cher. All right, Courtney, could you please do that incredible outro that you do so well?
You know what it is, kids. You love us. We love you. It's I'm going to let you finish on the Pantheon Podcast Media Network where we're here every week. Thank you for listening.
No, every other week.
Every other week now, because, it's summer, it's hot, I'm having a hot flash. It's all the things. It's all the things. Thank you, Annie, for coming on. Thank you, Amy, for being back again. Thank you, me, because, why not? And we will see you next week. Toodle, kids. Bye.